everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fix Your Belief Systems, Fix Your BS, where we talk about building the life of your dreams in 5 major areas: relationships, business or career, health, finances, and belief or faith. And our goal is to bring you individuals that will give you strategies, tactics, tips, secrets, if you will, in those areas to where you can build your dream life. And today we have somebody that helps people do that at a high level. He is a professional coach that helps high performers achieve rapid professional and personal growth. He's got his own podcast as well called Primed Mind, and I would highly recommend you go check it out. Also check out his Instagram. That's how I saw him with some people with the likes of people like Dan Fleischman, as well as Brad Lee, and I just loved his information, and so you should also check it out as well. Today we have Elliot Roe in the house. Elliot, thanks for being here, man.
Hey, thanks so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So Elliot is, to everybody listening, mindset and mindset coaching is very underrated by a lot of people. They don't understand why someone would spend thousands of dollars, and I have spent hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of dollars for mindset coaching and masterminds and group mentorship. Most people can't wrap their heads around that. So talk to me a little bit about that. Why would somebody spend $5, $10, $15, $20, $25,000 to help with the mindset?
Okay, so the easiest way of describing it is when you have an issue, and typically it's business that I'm working with. So people who have an issue in their business, if they don't know what to do, so they're just completely stuck, then they need a strategy coach or a mentor. So, hey, I don't know how to grow my business. If you don't know the next step, then you need a mentor or you need a strategy coach. If you know what to do, but you find that you're not doing it, that's where you need a mindset coach. So I know need to seek investment, but I am so uncomfortable asking for money. That's where a mindset coach helps. I'm not making the sales calls. I can't fire the employee because I feel too bad. Whatever it might be, but what it is it's this difference between somewhere where you're holding yourself back due to your subconscious versus a lack of understanding of next steps. And that's why people pay for mindset and performance coaches, so they can do the things they know how to do, and they pay for strategy coaches and mentors when they're just lost and they don't know the next steps.
I'll tell you what, that is such a great distinction that you just made, and it makes it very simplistic because it doesn't have to be complicated. While humans make things complicated. We throw our ego and our emotion and our past experiences into things. What do you think the most common, if you look at the 5 pillars that we talk about: relationships, business or career, money, health, or belief, which one do you work with people the most? Like, what do they come to you with the most, do you think? Or is there a mix?
So mostly they're certainly initially coming to me business-wise. They're looking to help themselves overcome money beliefs, issues in their business, ways they're self-sabotaging themselves career-wise. Oftentimes, parts of those other pillars show up as well, because everything is everything. So if you're working on your business, but you have a terrible marriage, that's going to be draining a lot of energy from you. That's going to be damaging your business. If you're physically sick, you're not in shape, you're not exercising, you're not getting good sleep, that's going to be impacting your business as well. So it's this combination of, usually the starting point is, hey, Elliot, I know I'm blocking myself in this way. It's costing me X amount of money each year in my career. But then as we explore it, we notice that everything's intertwined to some extent.
Yeah, and that's so true. But people come to you generally in the business aspect
of the business sense, or perform. Well, when I say business, whatever their business is. So in some cases, it's athletes. Some cases, it's traders. For some, it's CEOs, founders of companies. But it is typically that they're coming to improve their financial situation or their success in an industry.
That's awesome. So how did this all begin? Obviously, we talked a little bit before we started recording this episode, and you moved from England, and you live in the States now. And so, how did this all develop, and where did it all come from?
So initially, where it came from was a fear of flying. Had a fear of flying from childhood, and because of that, I wouldn't do long haul flights, so I wouldn't be here in America. And short haul flights would ruin vacations. So I'd spend a week before worrying about getting on a plane. I'd spend the whole vacation worried about going home. So that was my experience. Went to a hypnotherapist, and she managed to resolve it in an hour, which completely changed my life. And the way it was resolved is we went through this process of guided meditation, and then she brought up memories from my past that were connected to the fear of flying. Ended up bringing up a memory regarding being at my granddad's house, small child, being shown a picture of a plane and being told it crashed and killed his business partner. So we then worked through that memory, but it was very clear as to why I'd picked up an irrational fear of flying. It's planes are dangerous, and I learned that at a very young age. I wasn't consciously aware of the memory, which is what was very interesting to me. And when I spoke to my parents the next time I saw them, they explained that it was real and that had happened. So I had a memory that I wasn't aware of that explained my fear of flying, and I wasn't scared of flying anymore. That blew my mind and sort of opened up the world to me. And then also just made me decide I wanted to learn it as a hobby. So found a comprehensive course, got qualified as a hypnotherapist, thinking it was going to be something for fun and, you know, family members scared of spiders or something and fix it and it would be good. And what happened was I started helping friends and family, and they recommended people, and I really enjoyed the work. I was working in renewable energy investments at the time, so completely different industry. And I was enjoying my time doing the coaching and the hypnotherapy more. And it just grew organically from that point. My wife was offered a job in Vegas, and I moved to Vegas with her, and then started working with professional poker players and UFC fighters. And in poker, it went extraordinarily well. Right now, I think it's over $250 million that my clients have made in poker. They've won pretty much every major event in poker. Worked with some UFC fighters. A couple of them became champions. Then sort of from the UFC and from the poker, I was introduced to stock traders because a lot of them play poker with the poker players, and other athletes because UFC fighters also train in the same gyms as other athletes from other sports. So I ended up working with Olympians, Wall Street traders, crypto traders. And then that then expanded into working with founders of companies, CEOs of companies. And now I'm probably doing about 20% poker and then about 80% a mixture between trading and CEOs of companies, founders of companies.
Wow, that's really cool. So it's interesting though that the traders are basically kind of like poker players on Wall Street, right? I mean, it's kind of very similar. Why do you think working with poker players, for instance, because I know somebody will listen to that and they'll go, how does that relate? Why do you think, or how does that process occur to where you're helping a poker player win tournaments or get better at their craft? I mean, what does that process really look like?
So poker's actually, it might not look like it from the outside, but it's actually an incredibly complex strategy game without complete information. And what a player will want to be doing is they'll want to be able to implement their strategy even in high stress moments. And it's one thing playing a certain way when there's not $1 million on the line, and it's very different if you have $1 million of your money on the line, making that same decision. It's a bit like making a putt on the golf course. It's different if there's no money or tens of thousands of dollars. So what I help poker players do is maintain that focus and be able to play the way they believe they should play when they're under the high pressure moment. And this is exactly the same for traders as well, because traders will have an idea of what they should do in different setups, different trades. But again, as those trades move against them, ego gets involved. They start getting the fear of the loss. They start chasing. They start increasing the leverage of their positions. And being able to maintain that control in those moments is worth millions of dollars for them. So they're working with me to maintain the control, to be able to do what they would understand they should do afterwards, looking at the trades. But as I say, these are things that are easier said than done when there are millions of dollars on the line. And that's my niche, is helping people in these extreme high pressure situations be able to maintain their regular thought process. Yeah.
I can tell you, I play a lot of golf, and one of the hardest putts to make is when you have a $10 bet and only $5 in your pocket. I might have to work with you to overcome that fear. So let's talk about the average individual. So, these are high powered individuals that are dealing with millions of dollars, lots of stress on the line. But what about the average individual, somebody that's listening to this podcast and says, I want steps that literally anyone can take to improve my performance. And I'm always trying to learn and educate myself how I can get to the next step, get to the next level in my performance. So what would you recommend, or how would that work for somebody, average individual? What steps can they put into play in order to improve their performance right now?
I think one of the most simple exercises I take people through is decide what area you're looking to improve. So let's say it's health or it's business. And think about the person who represents what you'd like to achieve. So if it's in your business, who's the top in your industry? If it's in your health, what's the body you would like? What's the health that you would like to be able to demonstrate? And then make a list of all of the things those people do that give them that success. So if it's in your industry, the list of what the top performer does in your industry. And if it's in health and fitness, whatever the person who you're trying to emulate, what they're doing to maintain that level of health. And then when you've created a very comprehensive list, put a tick and a cross against the things that you're doing and see how many ticks and how many crosses. The first thing you're showing yourself there is that if everything's a tick, you probably don't know what to do because they're probably doing something different to you. Right? And if there are crosses, it means you know what to do, but you're choosing not to do it. And that's also what we do in mindset coaching. So then you can have a look and you say, actually, about half the things here I'm choosing not to do. I know this is what the top performers in my industry do, and I'm just not doing it. And then start having a look at the emotions that come up when you think about holding yourself to the same level of accountability that the best in the world do. And then that's the sort of the work to explore what's holding you back, where's that coming from? And oftentimes these are learned programs from childhood, memories that have created fears where it's scary to be rich because rich people are bad. You know, you learned it from your parents, or your teacher said you'd never amount to anything and you're stupid, so you're scared of public speaking. Or you were bullied, so you don't like going on Facebook because if you go on Facebook, you'll get criticism and judgment. And just start to get an understanding of where the issues are that you should start to really dig into and look at, because these are the emotions that are holding you back from reaching the success in the area that you believe you should be reaching.
It's interesting because what you're talking about is there's an area of success that you want to get to, because logically you're like, well, I know that I've seen other people who are not as good as I am in this area, but yet they have more success financially or business or whatever in their relationship. And what you're saying is basically self-sabotage. You're saying, you know, somebody starts to get some success and then they self-sabotage and go back down. I talk a lot about the human thermostat, which, you know, if somebody has a thermostat set on $100,000 a year and they start earning 150, they will start to sabotage themselves to get back down to 100,000. If they get down to 50, and then they work back up to 100. It's amazing. So, you know, how would you describe, or how can you understand your own self-sabotage?
The first thing to understand is that your subconscious's job is to keep you alive, not make you successful. Right? So if at the end of the day, you've got food, you've got water, you've got a roof over your head, ideally you have a partner, your subconscious says, job well done. Right? You are safe. Right? Any change, including positive change, is a danger, is a risk to your subconscious, because it's taking you outside of your comfort zone. So as much as you might logically want to be successful, there's a part of you that believes that might be a dangerous thing to do. If you suddenly become successful, will your family still like you as much? Will your friends still like you as much? Is it going to change the dynamic of your relationships? Are you going to be judged by strangers? Are people going to rob you? There's a lot of things that come up in your subconscious, and these are things to work through to start to understand why you might be self-sabotaging in those moments. I've noticed things, the wealth thermostat, I agree with you completely. I've seen that over and over again, that people get stuck at certain numbers. What's interesting is sometimes those numbers have very logical starting points. So one of the ones that comes up over and over is, what's the most money that you make? Let's say it's 250,000. What's the most money your dad ever made? 250,000. They're scared of outperforming their dad because it might damage the relationship with him.
Interesting.
Another one would be, reach a level of wealth. What did they say about wealthy people at home? Wealthy people were bad. What did your family consider wealthy people? Oh, $3 million, and you find that you can get to 2.5. You can't get to 3 because that's what the bad people. So there's all sorts of narratives that we create in our childhood that that put these caps on us. But overall, it's just your subconscious thinks it's working for you by keeping you alive. Any stretch of the comfort zone is a danger. And it's this deep subconscious work through modalities like hypnotherapy, emotional freedom techniques, EMDR, things like that allow you to dig in and understand where they're coming from and then work through those issues so that you don't have the same level of resistance.
That's amazing. So if somebody wanted to find more information out about you and working with you or get some information, how could they find you? I mean, Instagram, obviously, they can go to Elliot Roe.
Yeah.
How else?
My website's elliotroe.com. So there's a ton of information there. We have a team of coaches. So although I work with high performers, we have a coach for everyone. So you can apply for coaching there. We also have an app called Primed Mind, which is a mobile phone hypnotherapy application. You can download and try it for free. And then if you decide you like it, you can increase the number of audios that you can access by subscribing to it. But there are about 40 audios you can listen to just for free downloading it. It's called Prime Mind. It's on iPhone and on Android. So pretty much everyone's covered that.
That's awesome. I just love this idea. The funny thing is most people won't put in the work, like the tactic or strategy you just mentioned, which is writing down all the things, just picking a spot, picking a pillar, if you will, or picking one of the areas and saying, what do I want the end result to be? Find out who's already doing it. I find a lot of times people already know most of the things that person is doing, they're just not doing it. And then putting that check, or you said a tick or a mark, right? Or a tick or yes. Yeah. Across and saying, is this something I'm doing or is it something I know how to do, basically is what you're saying, right? Is it I'm already doing it or I know how to do it, but I'm not doing it?
Yeah.
And that seems so simple, which most things to change your life really generally are simple.
Yeah.
What would stop somebody from even taking action to do that first step?
They know what they're going to see.
Right. They can already predict the outcome.
Yeah. I mean, most of us know there's going to be a number of crosses on that list. And that tells your ego that perhaps it's your fault and it's a lack of effort. And you're going to have to face your fears. If you don't write the list, you've got the excuse of, I don't know what to do. But the truth is, once you've written the list and you know that the person who's got the body that you want works out 10 hours a week, if you're working out 3 hours a week, there's no big surprise they've got a different body to you. Right? But when you write it down, you see the answer in front of you, and that can be a bit more painful. It challenges the ego. And again, it's this comfort zone. Your subconscious wants to keep you as you are because you're alive and you're surviving. And the battle is manipulating past that and educating the subconscious that it's safe to be successful. And this is a big battle for most people, and it's very, very hard to overcome. And that's why there's an industry, like you said at the beginning. Why do people work with mindset coaches? Why would they spend so much money? And one of the ways I would describe this is, if you believe these sorts of resistances are costing you hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, it's very expensive to not do this work. Every month you're not working on improving this, you're actually costing yourself a large amount of money. And when people in uncapped industries like trading, the work needs to be done. It's an investment. It's not a cost.
And that is so true. We talk about that a lot in my companies as well. Is if somebody comes and says, well, it's $20,000, and I go, yeah, but what's the upside? How much money is your business making? It's making $4 million a year. What do you want it to make? $8 million a year. So is $20,000 worth the improvement of $4 million per year?
Yeah, and how often does it have to work for that to be a good investment?
Right. And all of a sudden that shifts and they go, oh, well, that's different. But I think that's one of the excuses people will make is, I don't have the money, or I'm afraid that you're not going to come through, or whatever. And it's one of those things that, like you said, the subconscious mind puts out into your world as an excuse, when really, or they say it's a reason, but really it's just that excuse. It's you putting something out there. What are some of the most common excuses, you hear from people?
For not doing this kind of work?
Yeah.
Well, certainly, as you say, cost, because it's viewed as an expense rather than investment. Some interesting ones. The damage to relationships is actually one that comes up frequently. I'll have guys scared of becoming successful or getting in great shape because they're worried they'll leave their wife if they get in incredible shape. Like, it's a fear that comes up for people. Or if they become successful, they make large amounts of money, their family will no longer want to socialize with them, or they won't be able to relate to other people that they were brought up with. These are genuine fears that block people from pushing themselves. And the truth is, it's lonely at the top. And that is true. Like, some of these fears around, will people treat me differently if I become extremely successful? The truth is they will. And some people will come up with you and some people will be left behind, because there are more people at the bottom than the top in society. And these are battles that you have to face. And it's a choice to put in this work into self-development and find out your full potential. And it's a choice not everyone's going to be willing to make. And if everyone made that choice, it'd be much harder to become successful as well. So you want to be sort of semi-happy that not everyone is willing to do the work. But it's just sort of have that awareness that it's going to be a discomfort, it's going to be a push, and your life will change in lots of different ways. But I believe the upside is worth it.
Don't you find that it just depends on how you look at that? And when your life is changing, you can look at it as, well, this is something that's exciting. It's exciting that I'm changing, as opposed to hard.
I mean, I definitely think that Sibuing is an exciting journey. So I believe there's no happy ending. This is just, we enjoy the journey and we try and evolve as we go through this journey towards whatever we're journeying towards. But having an understanding that, as I say, life will change and you'll meet different people and new people and more interesting people as you evolve, but having an acceptance that not everyone will come with you, and you can't tell people to come with you. You can only inspire them once you've got there. So people adjust to inspiration. They don't adjust to being told, because no one likes being told what to do. But if they're inspired, it feels like it's their own idea, and that allows them to then feel safe enough to go on the journey as well.
That's fantastic. I always like to ask the same question throughout to see the different answers. And it's funny, I've been doing this now for over 50 episodes, and the answers from the high performance individuals that I ask seem to have a very same pillars to them, very same structure. But the question's around success. And so I always like to ask, how would you define success?
Reaching a stage of contentment and happiness.
That's amazing.
Maximizing potential, like fulfilling your potential and reaching a stage of happiness and success. Success is the word. But that's how I would frame it. Success isn't a number, but success is typically, people feel a level of success if they've reached what they believe their potential is, or something in that direction. Are they growing towards it? And there's balance and happiness through their relationships in their life.
That's an amazing answer. I love that. Well, Elliot, this has been an absolute pleasure for me. I love this topic. I love this subject. And you are just so certain and calm about it. It makes me feel calm and certain about how people can change and how they can create something out of their life that they say they want, and they're just holding themselves back, and to get over that hump. Everybody, you need to go and look up Elliot on Instagram. You can go to Elliot Roe, and there's links here in the information underneath the in the description of this. You can go to elliotroe.com. I checked it out. There's some really cool stuff there. You can apply to do coaching. There's some other things, or you can download the app. Once again, all the links will be here in the description. Elliot, this has been a pleasure. I appreciate it. I really love the definition you gave of success, because that's really what we're looking for. We're all looking for happiness, contentment, and just that feeling of, I figured out who I am, and I'm really happy about who that is, and I'm living that human being, that version of me. Yeah. Amazing. Everybody, this has been another episode of Fix Your Belief Systems, where we talk about relationships, business, health, finances, and belief or faith. Elliot's given us a lot of great information. Take action. Like I say every single time, if you don't take action, nothing changes. And if nothing changes and you're still asking for something, you're still asking for a better future or something financially, or you're still wanting some sort of different result, you have to take different actions. And this is a really great one. So take those. I would really like you to take action and then go to Instagram and direct message or type them in the comments under Elliot's information. I bet you there's some information that he has that will be able to help you there as well. Elliot, it's been a great episode. I appreciate it. Until next time, like I said, this has been Fix Your BS, where we help you develop your dream life on your terms. We will see you on the next episode.